Today, we're diving into a story that feels like it's been ripped straight from a techno thriller. It's a case of alleged corporate espionage, sabotage, and what could be a major national security threat. We're not just talking about stolen files here. We're talking about the theft of a technology that could literally reshape modern warfare. Okay, right at the center of this whole story is a piece of tech that honestly sounds like pure science fiction. The documents we're looking at describe a system that can do more than just harvest energy. As you can see here, it can be flipped into a weapon, something far, far more destructive. So, what is this incredibly powerful technology, and who was on the verge of actually building it? Let's take a look at the science and the people involved. The documents have a name for it, a phase conjugate howitzer. Now that's a mouthful, I know, but think of it like this. It's a type of directed energy weapon that uses something called scalar interferometry. What that means is it could project energy that bypasses normal electromagnetic shields. It's like having a key that can unlock any door, making it an absolutely formidable tool for both offense and defense. And you have to understand, this wasn't some hobbyist tinkering in their garage. This research was being done by Agile Defense Systems, a registered U.S. defense contractor. They have a cage code, they operate under strict federal rules, the whole nine yards. And the dossier itself classifies this research as a high-tier hybrid threat, which is code for technology with serious, direct weaponization potential. So how on earth was this top-tier, highly sensitive research compromised? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. The attack didn't start with a phishing email or some fancy server hack. According to the logs, it started with a physical grab. The forensic timeline shows this critical window of opportunity. It all kicks off on August 25th with what the report calls an incapacitation event. Basically, the lead researcher gets arrested. And while he's out of the picture, a whole series of unauthorized digital events starts to happen. First, an iPad syncs up on September 1st, and then, boom, on October 17th, over 50 gigs of data get pulled out. This was a hybrid attack, you see. The core allegation is that the suspects got their hands on the physical devices, a laptop and a phone. And once they had those, they allegedly used the stored passkeys to just walk right through the digital front door. All those layers of security bypassed. They got access to the company's entire cloud environment. And here it is. This slide pretty much shows the connection. The forensic logs tracked the IP address from that unauthorized iPad sync, and it wasn't in some data center or office building. No, it was in a residential neighborhood in Kentucky. In the dossier, this is what they call the smoking gun, tying that digital breach to a very real physical location. All right, so let's move on to the suspects. Let's see how the evidence laid out in the forensic evaluation really starts to build a case against them. The investigation points the finger at two people, Ted Pollard and Jake McDonough. They're identified as the primary actors behind both parts of this breach, the physical grab and the digital heist. Now, this is where the story gets even wilder. The researcher's own personal logs, which are part of the evidence, allege that his arrest wasn't random at all. He claims it was a deliberate setup, a coordinated plan to get him out of the way so they could grab the backpack that held all the critical hardware, what he calls his life's work. And the dossier makes a really strong point here. This wasn't just about stealing data. The logs apparently show clear evidence of targeted sabotage. They didn't just copy the files. They tried to destroy the very forensic tools that could trace them. They even ran code meant to physically damage the hardware. This suggests a motive way beyond just theft. It looks like a plan to cause the most damage possible. But hey, stealing the code is one thing. What the suspects allegedly did next, according to these documents, is what takes this from a personal fight to straight-up corporate espionage. So, what do you even do with incredibly complex, stolen military defense technology? I mean, it's not exactly something you can flip on eBay. Well, the log suggests they had a pretty clear plan. And then you see this direct entry from the researcher's logs. It's a bombshell, really. He claims that the suspects were actively using his identity and his business's name to go out and market and sell the very technologies that they had just stolen from him. So where did this technology go? The forensic trail allegedly leads to some big, established companies. First on the list, Norton Healthcare, a major player in the healthcare world. The dossier claims that pieces of the stolen IP were actually integrated into Norton's AI-driven platform for precision oncology. And the second name mentioned is even bigger, the cloud hyperscaler CoreWeave. The allegation here is that the core architecture of the stolen technology was used as a stolen lead to fix critical stability problems with their GPU clusters right before their IPO. We're talking about potentially securing their entire financial position using stolen tech. This alleged proliferation, taking sensitive defense tech and marketing it to commercial companies, is exactly what escalates this whole thing from a targeted theft into a full-blown national security incident. Just to put a number on the scale of this alleged theft, it's staggering. The legal claims filed under the Defend Trade Secrets Act put the total damages at nearly $7 billion. That includes extra damages for what they call malicious theft. And here's why this matters so much on a national scale. The incident is classified as a high-tier hybrid threat. Why? Because it exploited a vulnerability that traditional cybersecurity just isn't built to stop. I mean, if you can physically steal the key to the castle, it doesn't matter how strong the digital lock on the front gate is. So let's just break down the bottom line here. By allegedly taking this ITAR control technology and shopping it around through unsecured channels like Zoom, the suspects effectively broke what's called the sovereign seal. That's the chain of security protocols meant to keep sensitive defense tech out of the wrong hands. And that creates a massive risk where adversaries could get a hold of this code and reverse engineer it to build the exact weapon we were talking about at the start. You know, the Agile Defense Systems breach, as it's all laid out in these documents, isn't just a story about a really sophisticated hack. It forces all of us to ask a really critical question for the age we live in. When the line between a piece of software and a weapon completely vanishes, who exactly is guarding the digital armory?